Hello! So the 14th of December happened. That was a little while ago, wasn't it? Time kind of slipped away from me. I've been really busy in that time, and I started this plushie all the way back then. But regardless, the date passing means it's been 1 year of YouTube! Or at least since I started this Wings of Fire challenge and began making videos seriously. Well, kind of seriously. 1 whole year. Just lean back and let the cold, gnawing sense of time set in. 365 days. Or more like 400 days. A lot of days. Just kidding! I had a great year. I'm pursuing my education, practicing with drawing backgrounds and scenes, and sewing many plushies, of course. Check out the army so far! 33 regular scale Wings of Fire plush have been made this year, which means, let me pull out the calculator, each plushie takes about 3 or more days since I have school, working for about 20 or more hours per plush, but we'll round it down to just 20, and there's 33 of them, meaning 660 hours was spent on sewing those alone, but there's also been several non-dragon companions included in the challenge. Squid the bobtail squid, Blob the wooden octopus, Dragon the cat, and the light-up electric eel we made in a video all on its lonesome. And we didn't actually make a dragon in that video at all! So we'll say 675. Oh, plus Darkstalker, who took 100 hours just himself, pushing the total to 775. And each video takes 1 to 3 days to edit, working for about 20 or so hours on that. We'll say 20 again. Drawing the backgrounds and art does take a long time though, and I am including that here. Oh, except the Darkstalker video, that took actually forever. About 40 hours was spent on that, but we'll round it down. Adding another 455 hours to our total, meaning that there's been about 1,230 hours of work put into this series so far, approximately, and there's so many more to go. I'm really excited about it. Viva la plushie! I will finish this challenge no matter how long it takes, and oh boy is there gonna be a how long it takes. You can download all my patterns for free. They're posted up on Patreon in the patterns collection and linked in the description. I'm also diversifying the videos I make because I have many passions in life and also for my own mental health. I like My Little Pony and Pokemon and World of Warcraft and How to Train Your Dragon and Five Nights at Freddy's and random real-time strategy games whose servers were discontinued in 2013. Oh, and I have my own original creations and characters. I love books and I'm going to write one. So I'm going to follow what I want to do wherever it flows. Wings of Fire is my favourite book series of all time, and I followed that passion randomly one day into making this whole army for myself. I made this channel to do nothing but share my passions, so thank you for watching. And as a conclusion to the Christmas special and a thank you to my viewers, here are the winners for the giveaway, which is now closed. The 3 winners are mentioned in the description of this video, and their comments are here. Third place is Joy Rogers 2809, who shall receive keychains of Whiteout Turtle and Blue. Second place is Carolyn Salvi 663, who is receiving Darkstalker, Whiteout and Bumblebee. And the first place winner for a plushie of Snowstorm, as well as these 3 keychains of their choice, is Equines and Animals. Congratulations! I have to ship these prizes to you now, and instructions for the 3 winners are in the description for you guys. Since you can't just, share your address in the comments section, so that's the solution. Also for my fellow plushie collaborators for the CARIBOU special video, congratulations on winning your own giveaway. In the future, there will be more collabs. Feel free to join in on them, other people. I will have a link to join with an art sharing and plushie collab Discord server at the end of this video, where we shall also be showing off a late entry CARIBOU who just snuck in under the bar. Anyways, now that I have the secret source of plush supplies, it's time for the fun to begin. It's the poster girl of the whole of the Wings of Fire book series, the one, the only, the fabulously gorgeous and sarcastic, Glory! We are entering the G category. Let off the fireworks, deploy the confetti cannons, and bring out the cake. Glory is one of my all-time favourite dragons from any media ever, and I am certain I do not speak only for myself there. Which, I suppose, explains why Glory gets to be the face of the whole of Wings of Fire. Her design is unique, not to mention her character. Although I do say her design is recognizable, but since she is a Rainwing, she can be any color you want to make her as. They can change the color of every scale on their body and even their eyes. If you wanted to make her mud brown and snot green, you should go right ahead, since that's perfectly acceptable and frankly canonical. But of course, she appears on the cover of her book as this very pretty blue, green, orange colour scheme, which is what we're going to make our plush to resemble. Rainwings are definitely the easiest tribe to make in terms of colours. Whatever you have laying around will do. Although fabric was not what I was waiting for in the mail as a plush supply. We have made a rainwing in this challenge before. Chameleon has already been done, but Glory is our first rainwing who can actually change the colour of her scales. In this challenge, I am trying my best to translate the fun gimmicks of each dragon with a giant darkstalker as long as a person and glow-in-the-dark sea wings, as well as a light-up frost breath battle winner, electrically zappable whirlpool, and a disembowelable arctic with a chest zipper. However, being able to change the colour of all the scales on your entire body is a much harder trait to translate. There's kind of a lot of ways to interpret a special thing for rainwings because they're also very sparkly. Their scales are generally described as bright. So, like Burns suggested in book 1, I peeled off some of Glory's scales one by one to do some unethical experiments too. But we'll come back for that. For now, we need to create the entire structure of our plush. Also, I want to sort of apologise for making the rainwing the way I did, with the curly tail and everything. I went over this in part 6 of this challenge where I covered how to put together the rainwing body, but even for me, having made a ton of these plushies, and in fact a lot of rainwings, this tail is really hard. It takes me so long to line up, and even then it's nearly never perfect, but they do look good in my opinion. Also, as a pattern note, I use the nose piece from the Skywing pattern for the rainwing also. I just don't know if I mentioned it. So best of luck! Now, I think Glory is a real dragon's dragon. Let me explain. I don't think that many stories are this willing to let their good guy protagonists have a kill count, but Glory is out here blasting dragons with her death spit. Fjord, melted. Scarlet, melted. Crocodile, melted. And she beats up several Nightwings in the volcano, which is totally such a dragon thing to do. I mean, when you think of dragons, you probably think of destruction on wings, and Glory is certainly deadly, so I think she fits the parameters. She's not like these wet, soggy kitten dragons. You can't just scratch her behind the ears and have her purring on your lap. She's spicy. Most dragons are good dragons. I am just a dragon enjoyer. Even the bad dragons are good dragons. So I do also love dragons who are portrayed as noble steeds or friends or oversized spiky puppy dogs. But if you ever need a quick hit of death on wings and don't want to sit through another reading of The Hobbit all the way up to the Lonely Mountain, Glory is your girl. Oh, great. Now I can recreate that one scene where they definitely cut off the real Glory's head. They actually behead this incredibly important character and she's dead, 100% real. Off screen too, but it totally happens. But anyway, Glory also has a great story, I think. I didn't quite get it at first reading because, like Glory, I had been very much hoping that the Rainwings weren't lazy and stupid. Glory had been called that all her life, damaging her self-esteem, despite the fact that she was very much intelligent and active. Her hopes were hanging on the idea that Rainwing stereotypes weren't wrong for just her, but also for everyone. But no, they are lazy and stupid. Okay, that's mean. And I showed a picture of Jambu. Okay, they appear lazy and stupid, but it takes time and an open mind to see that they have reasons for doing what they do. They appear lazy because Rainwings naturally have a different sleep schedule from other dragons, where they sleep in the middle of the day like lions. And they appear stupid because they don't know much about combat or politics or how to read, but their knowledge is highly developed and specialized for the rainforest they live in, sorting thousands of species of plants and animals and remembering the geography and layout of their extremely vast and dense kingdom in the rainforest. I have more things to say about confirming and denying stereotypes in writing, but let me say this. Glory isn't made valuable to the Dragonettes of Destiny because she's a Rainwing which isn't lazy and unintelligent. She's valuable to the world because she's alive. She's unlike all Rainwing stereotypes, but that doesn't make her better than her peers. She organizes the Dragonettes of Destiny and the Rainwings in order to save them from destruction, and ultimately she becomes their queen, a queen of 2 tribes even. But despite this, she's not the only rainwing that matters. And even a dragon which appears utterly frivolous and fruit-eating is worth the same as any other. And that's the real meaningful takeaway of Glory's revelation with the Rainwings and her narrative in finding a place amongst a prophecy and a world unfairly biased against her. Which is good. I approve. Oh, and when I was making the wings, I stuffed the arm bicep area to get them to stand up without having to put pipe cleaners into the body base or make them uncomfortable with wire. Which I had not really thought about until this strategy was pointed out to me by ADH Dream. Hello, Dream. I like making the dragons in different poses. Thanks for letting me know this pattern works well for that. Anyways, as angsty as Glory is, and even as vicious as she can be, she is a hero, at least of this story. Dragons killing each other is a very big part of the War of Sandwing Succession, and even the heroes and good dragons occasionally rack up a few deaths on their hands. I mean, it's not really anything compared to the pure evil of Blister and Burn, who just go around scheming or stabbing things until they feel satisfied. But it is a touch evil. Just a touch, objectively, which makes it difficult to rank for our character evil score. This is the first protagonist we've encountered who has murder on their resume and who isn't Fathom, whose one murder was very much a last resort and didn't look nearly as horrifying as this specifically. Like, wow. You could argue that the dragons Glory murdered were evil, but really, we didn't know that much about them. Fjord was just a prisoner of war who had been trapped for weeks or months in Scarlet's horrible arena, forced to fight to the death for the slimmest chance at either freedom or a quick, fiery death at Peril's claws, and forced to watch his fellow Icewings die in combat. Although he was going to at least try to kill Clay, who I love, Clay for the win. So it is good he was stopped, but seriously, I have to read you a few lines from the book to let you know how horrifying this is if you've forgotten. One of the drops had landed in Fjord's eye, and that was the first thing to disintegrate, leaving a smoking black cavity in his skull. The side of his face slowly dropped away like ice melting. So yeah, yikes in general. But I suppose I was hoping she'd do it again to all of the Nightwings who were trying to attack her. She doesn't melt them, but she does stop them from committing a genocide on and enslaving all the Rainwings, who they have been keeping prisoner, starving, and experimenting on. So, that's a pretty good outcome overall. Although she has done a few murders and disfigurements undergone in horrifying ways, she did prevent a double occurrence of mass death by saving the Rainwings from the Nightwings and then saving the Nightwings from the volcano. So 1 out of 10 for evil. Oh, and to seal the deal on that evil score, Glory, I need you to melt just one more guy. Thank you to my Whirlpool Hate Club members, Bird Yegling, Danielle Oliver, The Wait Zeranek Fluffle, Phoenix Fire, and Ninja Kitty Awakens. This was a punishment suggested a while ago, and now we have the perfect plush to dispense this pain. Anyways, Glory isn't done yet for 3 reasons. The first of which is that she needs some little paper and fabric flowers for behind her ear and around her horn, which look cute and fancy. And the second thing she needs is, of course, her pet sloth Silver. That's right, we couldn't possibly forget the sloth. I'm measuring her neck to make sure Silver fits around it. And let me just say, I would not want to have a sloth that close to my nose. They're so slow that algae grows in their fur and insects breed in it. So yeah, the sloth pattern is going to be up after this video with all the other patterns, so feel free to make your own. But for starters, we have a lot of applique on the face side. I freehand the outline for this, but the individual pieces are included in your pattern if you want to trace those out. We're going to be making the face white with a line on the chin. After you sew it up, cut the seam allowance off or do this part by hand, and then, over the white portion, we're going to add the eyeliner. I will say this about sloths, they may be stinky and apparently quite stupid, but they have perfect eyeliner. Trim that off, and now it's time for the facial features. I cut a little triangle for the nose and made Silver's eyes out of some tiny beads. You could get these beads anywhere, or if you wanted to, you could make their eyes out of a tiny little scrap of black material, or whichever colour your sloth's eyes will be. Once this is done, it's not the only applique, this is just the finish of the face. The sloth pattern has some folds at the ends of the limbs for the claws. They have very distinct claws, and I decided there should be an applique color change for that, which you'll have to make on both sides of this little sloth. And then snip off the seam allowance. There's probably going to be a lot of that, because there's 4 claw parts for each side. And now line up both halves of the sloth, the front and the back, into a sandwich with the applique claws aligned with each other, and then sew them up. Leave a gap somewhere so that you can turn them right side out. That looks so awkward.
Oh no, he's beautiful.
Oh, he's messed up. He's a little freak weirdo. And then we can use some bendy craft wire or pipe cleaners to make the sloth grip onto our dragon. You got to insert this fairly brutally into your sloth and then sew them up. And then you can attach them to your plushie. You could also make these magnetic as a solution, if you wanted to. And Glory is still not done. Remember, those were only the first 2 things she needed. If you recall the beginning of this video, the part with my secret plushie ingredient, now is the time to deploy that. Sparkles are all well and good, but changing colour is a must, I've decided. I really want Glory to change colour when exposed to sunlight, so I found something perfect for it. This pigment I'm using undergoes a photochemical reaction in response to the UV radiation of sunlight, and I'm going to use fabric glue to seal it down. I believe this works via isomerization of the molecules in the pigment. An isomer is a molecule with the same atoms as another molecule, but they're arranged differently, with different atoms in different places, or in the specific case of this photochromatic pigment, electrons in different places. As you may know from science class, well, actually you might not, shout out to the 9-year-olds and their mum's YouTube account, but electrons exist in distinct orbitals around the nucleus of each atom, which aren't rings, they're just an approximate area in 3D space where it is mathematically most likely to find electrons at any point in time. But you know, everyone draws them as rings, so here we go. As UV light hits one of these electrons, the very high energy radiation excites the electron, which causes it to jump to a higher electron band. But this energy cannot be maintained forever, so as it descends back to its original, more stable electron orbital, this releases a photon which is on the visible spectrum to us. And these different spots on Glory's body are going to change to different colors. The yellow ones will change to red, and the white ones will change to blue when in sunlight. And these different color changes are caused by the different energy levels of the photons being released from the drop in orbital levels, with a more energized or purple wavelength emitted from the more distant electron orbitals from the nucleus. And of course, because this isomerization is repeatable, the spots will change back to their original colors when indoors. Pretty cool, huh? I had to pay $3,000 in study loans for that knowledge, but you can have it for free if I'm right. Or, if you don't know chemistry, you can believe it's magic if you want. That's probably more exciting. Even just putting parts of her in shadow and revealing them creates the reaction. I'm pretty impressed with how rapid it is. And this is close to how it works in the story for Rainwings, where sleep and sunlight gives the Rainwings the control of their scale coloration. Which is pretty sick. I'll have a link to where I bought this photochromatic pigment, because it works really quite well on the 5mm pile minky which I'm using for the plushie base. Since the pigment becomes quite saturated in this long fur, I don't know, maybe it's kind of fur, I guess. And I will continue experimenting with this color changing stuff because it's very fun, and there are way more Rainwings in the future. Alright, awesome. This video is going on a bit now. Finally, Glory is done, with her flowers behind her ears and her beloved sloth Silver. So add another 40-something hours to that counter from the beginning and we're done. She can at last be reunited with Death Bundles, or whatever his name is. And he can protect her from, I don't know. We haven't actually done that many evil Nightwing conspirators as Plush yet, so he can protect her from too many sloths or something. I think that's on the wild round sheets. She's the first one we're putting up on this higher level of the shelf, so everything else has to be moved down next to the giant furry heads. Well, look at that. Spoilers for the next video. Oh, and now for our late entry CARIBOU. The series would not be complete without them.
Meet CARIBOU. CARIBOU is a 70-year-old postal dragon from the Ice Kingdom. Originally born to the outermost noble circles, CARIBOU's family, especially his younger brother Avalanche, strived to climb the rankings. For CARIBOU, however, the rankings felt like a meaningless goal, an immaterial prize that could never truly be secured. So instead of trying to rise in the rankings, CARIBOU joined the mail service. CARIBOU never married, never had kids, and never climbed the rankings. But he was happy. His job allowed him to travel across the whole Ice Kingdom, and even into other kingdoms occasionally. His deliveries would even take him past scavenger dens, some of them so frequently that the scavengers who lived there stopped hiding when he passed, since they knew he would not attack. On deliveries outside of the Ice Kingdom, CARIBOU would always try to find something to take back to the Ice Wings, giving many dragonets their first look at truly vibrant colors. His gentle, fatherly, and playful disposition eventually earned him the nickname Uncle CARIBOU. When Queen Oasis was killed and the sisters started trying to form alliances, CARIBOU was strongly against getting involved in the war. But when he met Blaze, he had to agree that she was by far the safest sister to take the Sandwing throne. He was often tasked with bringing supplies to Blaze's safe house, and eventually even Blaze began to call him Uncle CARIBOU. When it turned out that Thorn took the throne instead, CARIBOU felt relief for Blaze and the Sandwings, knowing the princess would have been miserable trying to run the kingdom. With the war ended, CARIBOU could finally return to some of his cross-continent roots, collecting and trading with other tribes, and even meeting old friends and business partners. It was on his way home from one of these trips that CARIBOU was struck by Darkstalker's plague. At first thinking he had picked up some illness in one of the towns he had stopped in, his concern grew greater as his body felt weaker and weaker, finally collapsing in the snow at the southern border of the Ice Kingdom. CARIBOU would have likely perished right there if he had not had the fortune of Typhoon noticing his red harness and swooping down to check. Once Typhoon had realized who CARIBOU was, he gave him one of Kibley's enchanted earrings and instructed him to go to the Sand Kingdom's palace and bring any more of the earrings that they had managed to make. Ditching his sled, CARIBOU raced as fast as he could to the Sandwing Palace, finally arriving and explaining to the baffled Sandwing guards why an elderly Icewing postal worker was asking to see the Queen. CARIBOU explained how he had been sent by Typhoon, and how he could help get the earrings sent across the Ice Kingdom quickly. Once they had collected all the earrings available, CARIBOU raced to the nearest Icewing postal office. After distributing earrings to the village occupants, the remaining earrings were divided among the postal workers to be sent to the neighboring towns and other distribution centers. Any other postal dragons were sent to collect more of the earrings from the Sand Kingdom. Eventually, the postal network was teeming with dragons delivering bags of amber earrings to every single corner of the Ice Kingdom. Even after it was safe to remove earrings, CARIBOU never took his off. Instead, he continued to wear it as a reminder to himself and others that the tribes were no longer fighting and were willing to help each other.
If you want to join in on the next collab or chat with fellow plushie makers, artists, and dragon enjoyers, here's the Discord server to do so. It's linked in the description. The next collab we're doing is a Skywing battalion under the iron-clawed command of General Maelstrom. That's right, sign up to fight to the death for Her Majesty Queen Scarlet in the War of Sandwing Succession or be a coward. Get to it! Okay, thank you guys for watching. Here's the speed paint warning, and a wet sloppy dragon kiss from Glory. Shout out to my Patreon members: Kimber, ADH Dream 1409, Kit, Samuel Sanchez, Monodia, Anika Lamason, Grey, Phoenix Fire, I Like the Dumb Bunny Shrimp, Fennec is here, Poppy Willow, Indigo, Woilies, Fantasy, Ninja Kitty Awakens, Lime Sharks, Copa, I Love My Fuzzy Kitten, Vanessa and Anara Burrows, Verla, Rhythm the Raptor, Aliana, Miffy, Victoria Toucan, Racing Wolf, Grey Malkin, Ghetto Catamoose, The Wait Sarah Fluffle, 8-Bit Beetle, Anonymous Running Dragon, Danger Noodles Are Cool, Erin Donahue, Carol, Murder Mellow 206, Silly Rabbit 87, Celeste Tazza, Gordon Young, Snow U1, Stuffed Tails Fursuits, Connie, Tori, Nix, Hazel Williams, Kitty Kitty, Keegan Evans, B, Crafty 6809, Alex Allen, The Christmas Lady, Acariel, Bird Yegling, The Creatures Burrow, Danielle Oliver, Kayla Hedrick, Audrina Bailey, Meshtail, Salami, Moth, Squirrelox, Danny, Echo Gaming, Catbrain, and lots of pizza. I hope you guys appreciate the rainbow in the background being specifically angled at the two gay dragons frolicking on the bridge here. See you for the next video and the whole next year, and thank you very much for watching.